Welcome to the Quantum Mama podcast, where frequency meets faith, science meets spirit, and motherhood becomes a portal to divine expansion. Hosted by Katelyn Simmons, a Jesus-loving, frequency-healing, free birth mama on a mission to help you heal your body, align your energy, and unlock true abundance, inside and out. Each week, she dives into holistic health, nervous system wisdom, quantum biology, faith-filled manifestation, and frequency-based living, all through the lens of motherhood, entrepreneurship, authenticity, and walking boldly in your God-given purpose. Because you weren't made to just survive. You were made to thrive, vibrantly, authentically, wildly, and in total alignment. Let's recalibrate. Let's expand. Let's do life the Quantum Mama way.
Welcome. My name is Katelyn Simmons, in case we haven't met yet, and you're on the Quantum Mama podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. Today, we're going to be tackling a topic that is kind of like a pep talk. A pep talk I wish I could have given my younger self, myself when I was dealing with chronic debilitating symptoms, when my life was really, really hard, when I was in the thick of it, when I was in a season of just wanting to give up. And I hope that I can bring you some encouragement. This is a pep talk I've given to so many people when I was coaching people through their health journey, when I was a practitioner, for friends, for family, for people who have gone through the healing journey, the holistic healing journey. I'm not talking about what the Western medical system has to offer. I am talking about you tried that and you're here in the holistic world and you're trying to navigate it. I want to give you a pep talk and the things that I wish I could have heard to help reframe my mindset for success. We're going to touch on healing as a holistic lifestyle. We're switching from just taking something to mask a symptom. There's no magic pill for anything. There is no magic switch that you can do to get yourself healthy other than miraculous healing from the Lord. That is real. That is something you can receive, but you have to believe it. God also wants us to use tools that he gives us and use common sense and use our brains and have knowledge. And so what I'm going to share with you today is knowledge that I have learned from a lot of suffering, a lot of suffering. And when I say suffering, I mean there were so many days I could not pick myself up off the bathroom floor. I could not function. There were so many dark times in my life. And I want to be a light to the people who don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I want you to know that healing is for you and healing is possible. There are some things we just need to reframe. And there are some faulty belief systems that we need to reprogram. And there is a God who loves you, who wants to heal you, but you have to ask for it and you have to believe that you're going to get what you ask for. Okay, we're going to talk about understanding what is a Herxheimer reaction, detoxing, what does it feel like to detox? Is that just like a fad? Like, what is detoxing? And emotional processing, and how when you're on this healing journey, it's like a roller coaster. There are ups, there are downs, there are seasons you go through, and it can feel like a wild roller coaster. That's the best way to explain it. If you've ever wondered why healing will seem like you're taking one step forward and 10 steps back, there can be stalls and flare-ups, especially if you're dealing with something like Lyme disease or you're just debilitated. It can feel so frustrating and so hard when that's what it feels like. But I want you to know some of that is very normal to an extent. I don't want you, I want to lay it out right now. I am not telling you to try to feel worse. I am not telling you that uh, putting yourself on the brink of passing out, and making yourself so intensely worse feeling is a good thing. I have had friends and clients that have gone to really crummy doctors that told them to do things that were way too intense and put them in the emergency room, and that is not okay. I'm not for that at all. I am for gentle healing. I believe that gentle is the way to go. And I also have to give you a disclaimer. Nothing in this podcast, nothing I ever say is medical advice. It should not be taken as medical advice. You should work with a skilled practitioner. You should have someone that you're going to for advice, a doctor, a practitioner, work with an expert. I'm just sharing my story and unpacking what I've been through. Okay, so no medical claims, no diagnoses here, no, this is not a supplement for medical care. This is just my opinion. We're going to unpack the science and history of the Herxheimer reactions. I'm so surprised all the time with how many people don't know what that is. We're going to talk about emotional seasons of healing, a little bit about Lyme disease, how lasting healing is when you actually shift into lifestyle change, and not just focusing on symptoms. And let's jump in. Okay, so let's start with, what is a Herxheimer? Like, what's a Herxheimer reaction? So this is a term thrown around. I think it used to be thrown around a lot more back in like 2008 and way back then when this was my world. It's called a Jerish Herxheimer reaction, or Herx. I've always just called it a Herx. It's said to be an acute temporary inflammatory response that happens shortly after antibiotic treatment for spirochetal infections like syphilis or Lyme disease. So we're not going to dive into the history of Lyme. My opinion on Lyme is it's not so scary like we are taught to believe it is. It's real, it's there, but I'm not scared of it anymore like I used to be. Basically, this is just the name for feeling worse after treating the disease. So when someone's talking about a Herx, they're mostly connecting it to Lyme disease. But this is actually something that happens anytime we do some kind of protocol or take a supplement or do something that initiates the killing off of bugs in the body. The body can feel worse. So symptoms can be like a fever, chills, headache, myalgia, flushed skin, nausea, rapid heartbeat, hypotension, commonly within a short time period of starting those antibiotics. When bacteria die, pathogens die, they release inflammatory components, which can trigger an immune response. The body goes, whoa, we've got something here, let's attack it. And in a lot of cases, this is really good. On the other side of this, when we think about killing parasites house things like heavy metals and mold mycotoxins. Like, they house a lot of the things that would actually be very toxic to our system. So when you start killing parasites really intensely, they can release a bunch of junk and the body goes crazy trying to kill it or trying to mop it up and get it. And that can make you feel miserable, but that can actually be recirculating toxins and causing things to be worse. So there's a lot of nuance to this. There's a lot of, doctors, like I mentioned earlier, who want to, their whole goal is to initiate a Herxheimer reaction. They want you to feel bad from whatever it is that you took or that you did. I learned that is not a good goal. We want the body to be robust and healthy. We want to focus on the body having enough light and frequency and energy and voltage to be able to handle these things, keep the lymphatic system flowing, have drainage pathways open so that you're not having these intense cycles of detox reactions. This is not exclusive to Lyme disease and antibiotics. I just wanted to share, what the world says a Herxheimer reaction is in case you're hearing that word. And then to kind of connect the dots so you can see whenever you're going to do something in your body that will help address a pathogen of some sort, you can feel worse because of your body's reaction to what is being released. Does that make sense? Now, having the lens of quantum biology and seeing how the body is primarily energy, I would go about this a totally different way than I even did back then. I would have done such gentle things to start: grounding and sunlight and hydration. We did do stuff right where we started with pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, which we'll have an episode on that too. But when we, and that just shows how God was leading. God was leading to not do a PICC line to the heart of antibiotics, but to do pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. Like, that is God. God has been, you know, he's in all of this. So this is archaic to me to read, just to go back and read about what they do for Lyme patients. It sounds archaic. I don't think that this is, I think that we'll look back in history and be like, oh my gosh, why were they treating this way? Why was this so neglected for so long too? I mean, back in 2008, doctors were undercover. Doctors were getting their license taken away for treating this. Lyme is a very controversial subject. To put it in perspective, in case you haven't dealt with any kind of chronic illness type thing, here's a quote from a Lyme patient. Quote, "Every cell in my body feels crippled. It's mentally overwhelming," end quote. And that essentially is what's happening. The mitochondria, if you can envision cells just not, what can happen is we're supposed to have this life cycle in our cells, in our mitochondria, so they will actually work really well, and then they'll replicate, and then they'll self-destruct. And something that happens when we are sick and overwhelmed is, most of us actually, a lot of people are running on over-expired mitochondria that have been just not able to self-destruct, and they're old, and they're like ancient mitochondria that should have been replaced by now. And that can be attributing to why someone can actually even come down with a chronic illness, is their mitochondria were not taken care of. That's the case for really every chronic debilitating thing that we're seeing a lot right now. Is when we go back to how we have to think about, how did the body get to a place where this was even able to happen? Like, what was going on that weakened the body so much that a pathogen could overtake, or that a parasite could, parasites could overgrow? And then when we look at quantum biology, we have artificial light, we have artificial frequencies. When we read the book called, what is the book called? Something Rainbow. I forget what it's called. It's all about EMFs, and it's really awesome. Hold on, let me look. The Invisible Rainbow. The Invisible Rainbow. There are so many things separating us from the incredible earth that recharges our cells, that we are more susceptible to these types of things than ever before. So I just wanted to touch on this. So Lyme herxes can be really, really intense, and people feel miserable. People feel terrible, like achy joints. You feel like that you have the flu every day, and then when you have a herx, it's like 20 million times worse. The practitioner world and the doctor world loves to say you're killing the right bacteria when you have a herx, and they use that as a sign that things are going well. Now, there is a balance to this that I want to try to get across to you. There is truth to that when we see something get a little bit worse, the body can bring things up to the surface, and once it's aware of it, attack it and clear it on its own. And we can initiate, I have air quotes, initiate a kind of Herxheimer reaction just by simply doing things that support the body's function. So let me use infrared sauna as an example. If the infrared sauna is helping us because we have infrared light and this heat, and it's helping our mitochondria, and it's bringing energy back, and it's helping us flush things out of our sweat, which sweat is a detox pathway. And then we feel a little worse after the sauna. that could show that the sauna helped us push something through our system that needed to get out. And it's almost like a mini Herxheimer. It's like it's better to call it, let's call it a detox reaction or a healing crisis, which crisis is kind of intense. So let's stick with detox reaction. And that can be a very good thing. At some point on your healing journey, you might never not feel that anymore. Most people, as they heal and heal and heal, they stop feeling that. But if you're in the trenches and you're feeling miserable, this can be a normal thing. It can even be a normal thing if you've gone your whole life feeling great and then you start doing things like infrared sauna, cold plunging, detox stuff. I'm taking all these supplements, magnesium, AO scan, frequencies. Like you're doing all the things, you're changing your lifestyle, and you start feeling worse. Pathogens, parasites, toxins, microplastics, heavy metals, they embed into the body. They get deep into the body. They sit in the organs. They're sludged up in the lymphatic system. And so by doing these lifestyle changes, you are slowly but surely changing the terrain. And because you're changing out the terrain of your body, it is going to naturally want to get poison out. And so you can feel worse as you get the poison out. Okay? So there's my little connection there, just why I even brought up Herxheimer reactions in the first place. The point of all of this that got me to this right here is that the healing journey, no matter what you are targeting, whether it's something super intense or maybe isn't even feeling physical, it's just mental health, it is normal to have really long stretches of not noticing much. And then it's normal to have stretches of feeling worse. And it's very normal and actually better to be seeing gradual progress. Gradual progress is what we want because you are going to be able to maintain that. Let's talk about some support for if you're going through Herxheimer or detox reaction or feeling worse before feeling better, healing crisis of some kind. There are things that can help you mitigate those or minimize those. And here's some of the biggest ones. Okay, so infrared sauna kind of depends where you're at. If you have never really been able to sweat in your life, this one could initiate some detox reactions. But more than likely, getting yourself to sweat and using a sauna is going to boost your circulation and help you sweat stuff out. Now, the next really important, so actually, I should have put these in order. There's two things that I think should come before trying to sweat stuff out. Number one is being hydrated. Drinking water is so important, and drinking water with minerals and making sure your water is actually hydrating you is really, really important. We'll have to do an episode all on hydration at some point. Getting hydrated will flush out the cells of a lot. Not everything, but it's going to help. You also need to be hydrated for electrical conductivity, for your body to be able to even utilize, the AO scan, frequency tech, any of these types of things that I talk about quantum-wise, you've got to be hydrated. Then would come sweating it out, which you can even just do by going out in the hot sun. Listen to my episode on sunlight. Man, the sun is healing, dude. Today I was out, at the ocean, out at the beach with my baby and my parents, and we were just brought my baby out in the water, and then she wanted to go sit with grandma, so my dad and I were just swimming in the waves, and it was just, glorious. When you come home after a few hours out in the sun, granted you've done the preconditioning for your skin so you're not lobstered out and just drained from the sun, that is the best feeling in the whole world, I believe. Like for me, after being in the sun for a few hours, especially now with all the circadian stuff and quantum biology stuff that I do, it is the most ultimate recharge. Sun is so good. Get to the ocean if you can. Get to a river. Get to a lake. Get in the sun. It is so good. Okay, next is I want to talk about some forms of binders. You've probably heard about these before. Specifically, my favorites are shilajit and fulvicumic acids. I can link my favorites down in the description, but when you take something that binds to toxins, binds to heavy metals, and even like Shilajit helps get toxins out of the fat cells, which is really cool. That is also going to help minimize or mitigate the detox reaction or feeling crummy after because things are recirculating. Another great one is Epsom salt baths. You could also do like Dead Sea salt, or there's all sorts of different types of things you can put into a bath to help you detox through your skin. But the main ways you really want toxins to be being eliminated are not actually just the sauna and like baths through your skin. Your skin is kind of one of the last ones. The first, let's talk about the drainage funnel. Your first area of elimination is your colon. So you need to be pooping, getting toxins out through your colon. And then we would talk about the liver, supporting your liver health. Maybe taking something like milk thistle, or there's so many things out there about drainage and detox. That's my old world. That's what I used to talk about as a practitioner. It's not what I really talk about anymore. But you can do castor oil packs over your liver. There's so much you can do for your liver. Support your colon, support your liver. And we have this whole drainage pathway where our insides need to be doing the work that they need to do. One of the things you can do that's so simple is actually go out in the like mid-morning hours and get your tummy in the sun. Man, when you get the sun on those organs, that is beneficial. Put your red light over your organs. Get hydrated. Take minerals. Like there's so much you can do to just support in simple, low-cost ways that are going to help flush toxins out. But the drainage pathway has to be open. So you have to be pooping, eliminating, sweating, breathing. Breath work is another great one. Let's see. Some stuff for your colon. You can do colonics or enemas. I used to specialize in lymphatic drainage. I loved doing lymphatic drainage for my clients. I actually had really fancy tech that I would use too. Like, they were these like electric wands that I would use all over their body, and it would help flush the lymphatic system. It was so cool to watch inflammation and swelling just go away. But if you don't know my story, I would see the inflammation go down in someone. It would go from like not being able to see the shape of like their shoulder because it's just so puffy from to the end of the session, it just being normal shoulder, or like their belly being so bloated to going down, and then they'd have to go to the bathroom. Like getting the lymphatic system to move is so powerful. But people would have to come back and then come back and then come back because we weren't addressing the root cause. And so that's why I talk about this quantum stuff, is because when you address the root cause and you are working on, yes, supporting the lymphatic system, yes, supporting the drainage pathways, yes, doing sweating and binding up toxins and stuff, while also addressing the root of why is it stuck in the first place? Why are your mitochondria sluggish and swollen? Where's the disconnect? What's out of balance? And you start fitting the puzzle pieces together, eventually you won't need that lymphatic drainage every week. And that's what led me into searching more, because I saw my clients come in and be like, okay, we got to get you not needing me so much. We got to get you like better. Why is this puffing back up? And so that's where I got my, practitioner stuff and got into supplements and making protocols and bioresonance and all the cool stuff. Some things that I wish I would have known about to support the body would have been terahertz, the AO scan. Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy is something that I used from the beginning that is really, really beneficial to help people pull through these different seasons of healing that they go through. But I want you to have a mindset reframe around herxing. Let's start to view having a detox reaction, feeling worse, as a positive sign that there is healing underway rather than failure, or rather than a sign to quit. You never really want to quit something if you're feeling worse. I mean, there are circumstances you would. So if it's unbearable, taper the protocol back, do less. less is more in a lot of circumstances. I love using the AO scan to know exactly what supplements that I need each day because you can push yourself into something by taking too much, but if you have a scanner that shows you exactly the dosages you need each day, it's way more balancing than just guessing or just doing a really heavy, intense protocol like a lot of practitioners like to put people on. So I want to talk about how I've seen detox reactions and feeling worse before you feel better in other areas, not just the root cause community, not just Lyme, not just drainage protocols, not just what we've been talking about. When I became an emotion code practitioner and I started releasing trapped emotions for my clients, and I learned in the certification how there's a processing period after we release the trapped emotions, this was a whole nother level. So, in the emotional processing period, you can have a physical detox just from removing energy, just from getting like acupuncture, using the AO scan, doing the emotion code, doing the body code, doing energetic things. A sound bath can initiate the physical body to start resetting itself, realigning, rebalancing. And then the results of that can be feeling worse because things are shifting and moving out. Let me relate this to massage. When I was a massage therapist and I would work on someone's tight shoulder, it could be pretty painful until we get the muscle to loosen up. I would have to let people know that they could be sore or feel bruised in that area for a few days. It would feel worse before it feels better. I'd see them 2 weeks later, a week later, a month later, whatever, their shoulder's good. What happened there? It was painful to push out the stagnation. The body had it was ischemic in that tissue. There wasn't enough blood in the tissue. So we forced blood flow into the tissue of the shoulder, which was painful because it's separating, getting into the fascia, getting, fascia release, getting the lymphatic system to flush out of the way. That can hurt and then feel sore and be tender because it's been so tight and just blocked for so long. But then we loosen it up and the healing energy, blood flow, life force, everything can make its way through. There is healing on the other side. Envision that when we release a trapped emotion. When you listen to your inner voice, sound therapy from your voice analysis in the AO scan, your body has the ability to have a burden off of it. It's like lifting a huge heavy weight off of your body, and now it can go, hey, what do you know? I have more energy. I can address that stagnation in my liver. I can kick out those flukes. I can rearrange some things. I can let my lymphatic system go. I can release that. Your body can start to do what it was designed to do when you lift the load. Okay, so do you see where I'm going with all of this? A Herxheimer reaction is the intense version where they're going kill, 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 kill something, and then an already overburdened body that is struggling and in debilitating pain is going to try to mop it up and clean it up and restore. Why isn't it working? Why isn't that working for most people? Because their body doesn't have enough energy. We don't have enough voltage. So if we can raise the voltage, lift the burden, the body can start doing what it was designed to do. Is this tracking? Is this making sense? When we release trapped emotions, imagine a trapped emotion. Dr. Bradley Nelson says they're the size of your clenched fist. If we can remove that whole huge area that was blocked with stuck energy can now move. Stuff can shift. Stuff can flow. Why would people message me and say, I feel like I have a cold after that session? And then, after processing, 2 days after their processing period, they're magically fine? Yeah, because the body had to process, kick stuff out, rearrange, reset, whatever you want to call it. in that processing period. I hope that helped kind of just make a little bit more sense of why you can feel worse before you feel better. But now I want to kind of dive into consistency and dedication when you're coming into this lifestyle of healing. The biggest mistake I have repeatedly seen people make is not being consistent. There are so many, let me start with this. People have messaged me over the years, man, if I had the expensive wellness tech that you have, I would be better already. Or I wish I could afford what you have. No wonder you're okay. No wonder you're better. That is the worst attitude you could possibly have. That is the worst. That is not why someone gets better. The people who get better start with the free stuff. They start with what they have, and they show up consistently, and they are good stewards of what they already have, and then they are blessed with more, and then that accelerates them. This is true for healing, and this is true for business, and this is true for every area of your life. So stop complaining. If you want the cool wellness tech, put it on your vision board, or join my business and earn it. Work as you're healing. That'll accelerate things. This is a personal development journey as well. Do you really think that you would be attacked with health issues if you didn't have a huge purpose on the other side? Do you really think you'd be going through this season of struggle? The enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Don't let him. Claim the promises God has for you and keep pushing forward. Keep going forward. Ask the Lord, what can I learn from this? How can I become a better person through this, and how do you want to use me? I get to help people feel better and heal and change and grow now that I'm on the other side of it, and you can do the same thing. That just came out. That just came out. Someone must have needed to hear that at some point. So be consistent with what you have. This is true with everything. This is true with drinking water. You can take the minimum amount of tiny things that you could do, the free things, grounding, sunlight, drinking water. If you cannot commit to doing those on a consistent basis, and then when you fall off the wagon, just getting right back on and doing it again, why would you be entrusted to having more tools? Do you see what I'm saying? So as you are adding new things into your protocol, into your lifestyle, into your just how you're trying to heal, you have to shift and see that this is not a protocol anymore. This is a new lifestyle. This is a lifestyle of moving forward to become your greatest self. You are stepping into becoming the person that God created you to be. This is shedding, that you can allow this to shed the things that should not be there anymore. You can allow this to be the heat that purifies the gold. You can allow this to be a season of learning and growing and learning to surrender. When I was at the depths of despair, it felt like, when I was in my worst, I let go. And I said, God, whatever you want for my life, I surrender. I'm sorry for fighting it. Show me what to do next. It really took me getting to some hard places to see where I needed to surrender the most. And I still have to surrender over and over and over. It's a lifelong thing. Just like reading your Bible, you commit to it. You continue and you're consistent. It's not a sprint. There is no magic button or magic pill from any company of pharmacia that is going to do the work for you. Your lifestyle can be medicine, nutrition, movement, sleep, stress reduction, emotional hygiene, releasing trapped emotions. Your daily commitments are what are going to yield compounding results over time. And that's why I talk about abundance and health so much. Because these concepts overlap. The same thing I'm coaching people on to be successful in their social media can be the same things I'm coaching people on to be successful in their healing journey. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, Imagine someone who fixes gut issues once and then reverts to old habits versus someone who integrates healing as a lifestyle and enjoys their sustained well being. That person's end of life is also going to be much more pleasant. So, as you're adding in new things to your wellness protocol, as you're trying new things, you're releasing trapped emotions. That's where I was going with the trapped emotions. I would do these groups for people. I would do one-on-one sessions, and people would release parasites. People would have massive, massive results after a short period of feeling crummy. It's normal to feel worse before you'll feel better. Just have nuance with it and don't push yourself into being completely miserable. You can actually really hurt yourself, uh, you know, overdoing it. You can really recirculate toxins. You want to make sure that you're working with a practitioner if this is something that you're worried about. If things are just always making you feel worse and you just cannot find progress, you need to be working with someone to help walk you through this. And then to add on to consistency, I see this with the AO scan a lot. People will sign up for a month and then after a month go, I don't know if I really noticed anything. It's like, okay, well, do you still have insomnia? No, I've actually been sleeping pretty good. Do you still have, no claims, doesn't just magically fix insomnia in a month. Some people tell me testimonies like that. But, you know, we forget the things that have healed. We forget the things that God has done for us. Look at the Israelites. They forgot what God did for them. They didn't even care anymore. They were so whiny and complainy. We have to remember the things that have healed. And so journaling can be a really powerful way for you to keep track of what's happening on your healing journey. And you can correlate what you're doing and what you're changing and see patterns, what you're being consistent with. So let's say you do grounding, drink more water, get better water and minerals, sunlight, and the AO scan. And let's say you just commit to those things and you do them every day for 3 months and you journal your symptoms, what you're noticing, what you're feeling. And at the end of the 3 months, you might say, I don't know if I noticed anything. But then you flip back through your journal and you remember that you were getting headaches every day, that you had brain fog, that you had low energy, that you were waking up during the night, that I don't know, all the different things. And so journaling can be so powerful to keep you on track and keep you consistent with the things you need to stay consistent with. I have been consistent with the AO scan for 4 years now, over 4 years. It has continued to transform my life. Things like the AO scan frequency, things like food, things like you wouldn't just eat protein for a week and then stop. You need protein for the rest of your life. You wouldn't just drink more water for a month. You need to drink water for the rest of your life. We are energy beings. We are frequency beings. You need to connect with the earth. This is not just until you feel better. If anything, when you feel better, this should excite you to get to the next level. What else can I change? How else can I be better? And then you want to share it with the world and tell other people how they can feel better. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Just a little recap. It is normal to feel a little worse before you feel better. The healing journey can feel long and it can feel difficult. But if you stay consistent and you open your mind and you continue to learn and you stay consistent, that's going to be the biggest thing that really changes things for you. And so I encourage you to journal it out and actually write down what you're feeling. Oh, we didn't even talk about mindset. Okay, we got to talk about mindset a little bit. When we're looking at the healing journey, if you have a diagnosis and you identify with that diagnosis, that will keep you stuck. You cannot keep saying, I have fibromyalgia. You cannot keep saying those words and claiming that over your life unless you want to stay stuck for the rest of your life. I had to learn this. I had to stop prophesying over myself that I had something. I had to stop saying things about my finances. I had to stop saying things about my body. I had to stop saying things about my life and replace them with what God says, what the good. And this goes back to the subconscious mind. What is programmed in our subconscious mind that is keeping us stuck or that is holding us back? There can be so much. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this is encouraging to someone, to keep going. It's normal to go through these different seasons. It's worth it in the long run. It is so worth it to continue. I have some resources for you. I have my private Facebook group, my inner circle, where you can connect with. Now we have over 3,000 members of like-minded people that you can connect with in that Facebook group for free. So that, of course, will be included in the description. All the tools that I talk about, like the AO scan, different supplements that I mention, like Shilajit or Ionix Gold, or Ionix Gold is the fulvic humic acid that I really like. All the different types of things that I share about will, of course, be included in the description for you with discount codes and links. And I'd love to hear from you. Where are you at on your healing journey, and what have you learned? Do you have any advice to give to a fellow person on their journey of healing and changing and growing? And what have you noticed? And what has helped you the most to stay consistent? Staying consistent can be something really tough. And I know I say it all the time that we have to be consistent. But if you've figured out any hacks or tips to that, I'm sure that people would love to hear about it as well. I know for myself that when I start to see the changes in myself and I see the difference and I feel the difference, it becomes addicting. It becomes something that I look forward to and I want to continue. And at some point along the way, it just became a way of life. So I hope that you can be encouraged by that too, that it won't always feel like it's difficult to keep showing up and being consistent in the things you need to do for your health. At some point, it really just becomes a part of who you are. And then you radiate that incredible trait that you have created to others, and you inspire others, and it becomes a big ripple effect. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you know that your body is working for you. It wants to restore itself. It's not broken. You are not broken. You are worthy of healing. You can heal. And I'll see you in the next episode.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Quantum Mama podcast. If today's conversation expanded your mind, nourished your soul, or lit a fire in your spirit, share it with a friend. Tag Katelyn on Instagram at Katelyn Simmons Official and at The Quantum Mama, and leave a quick review. Don't forget to check the show notes for this episode's featured products, her favorite frequency healing tools, and a free gift. Created to help you go deeper. You were made to thrive, Mama, in wholeness, wealth, and wild alignment. Until next time, keep rising, keep resonating, and keep living the Quantum Mama way.